Oh, and thank you for joining me today. It is wonderful to have you here. I'm going to check that my audio and video is set up perfect. Looks like we should be good to roll. So, welcome. Today, we are talking about the role of self promotion in career success. I am Melody Wilding. I'm a professor of human behavior and executive coach, and the best selling author of a book called Trust Yourself. Stop overthinking and channel your emotions for success at work. If you have read the book, thank you so much. It always means the world to know that you supported it and picked up a copy. I am also the creator of a program called Resilient, which is a first of its kind 3-month group coaching program to help sensitive high achievers regain their confidence, master their emotions, and reach their full potential at work. So say hello if you are joining live. I love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know where you are watching from today. If you are catching this on replay, type replay in the chat as well. And I always like to say, as we're going along, please help your neighbors out. If you hear something that resonates with you or that's an important tip or insight, please type that in the chat. Please help other people out. And as we go along, I want this to be interactive and for it to be a conversation. So let me know what's standing out to you, what is resonating with you as we go along. Okay, so I see folks joining. Hello, Ahmed. Great to see you. Irene. Good evening in Italy. Abdu in Qatar. Adriel, Toronto. Alyssa, Maryland. Great to have you. Amber, always great to see you. Kim, Kate. Hello, Kate. Wonderful to have you here. Thanks for joining. So, as we're getting started today, I also have a very exciting announcement. And that is, I am hosting a brand new free training this upcoming Monday, September 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And it's called Stand Out Self Promotion. Transform your impact, value, and visibility at work. And we're going to demystify what in the world workplace visibility even is, why it's important, and perhaps most importantly, how you can maximize it. So you're going to get tools and strategies to help you learn how to highlight your accomplishments at work without sounding like a complete jerk, and learn how to communicate your value with authenticity and sincerity, since I know if you're here, that's most likely important to you. And this training is completely free. And it's the first time I am sharing this material publicly. So, like I said, this is a brand new free training. You can use the QR code here on the screen. Just take out your phone, open your camera app, and it will bring you straight to the registration page. You can also head to the link on the screen here, melodywilding.com/stand-out. All right, I'll make sure that is in the comments as well. And if you can't make it live, I know 3 p.m. Eastern might be the middle of the night for some of you here. Do not worry, still register. We will send you the replay. All right, so hello, Giuseppe in Madrid, Mary in San Diego. Let's see, we have India, Bangladesh. Wonderful to have all of you here. Saudi Arabia. Excellent. Now, you might be here today because you've heard me talk about the concept of being a sensitive striver. And I mentioned just a moment ago that I work with people who identify as sensitive high achievers. And I call these people sensitive strivers. That means you are driven, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to succeed, and you also think and feel everything more deeply. Self-promotion is one of the biggest areas I see sensitive strivers struggle with. And I found that tends to be for a few different reasons. So let's start with the tendency to overthink everything. Sensitive strivers are incredibly reflective, they are thoughtful, but sometimes that can go too far. Let me know in the chat, do you consider yourself an overthinker? If so, just type overthink in the chat. So, what I notice is that sensitive strivers can get really caught up in loops of rumination. They turn over all of the possibilities, the what ifs in their mind. And when it comes to self promotion in particular, that might look like crafting an email to their manager highlighting something great that you thought you did, but then you reread it, you edit it 100 times, you question every word choice, every punctuation mark, you think to yourself, does this make me sound like I'm boasting too much? Is this even clear enough? Am I providing too much detail? Right? Who has been there before? And I know I'm making a little bit of a light of it right now, but in reality, this can really lead to a lot of mental fatigue and ultimately the decision to put off sending that email altogether. And I see a lot of you are relating to being overthinkers here. And Patricia even mentioning that overthinking tends to interfere with sleep. Yes, absolutely. I see this very often. It's as if our minds won't turn off. And trust me, I wish there was an off switch for that sometimes. But the sensitive mind is a meaning making machine. It's built for reflection and deep understanding. And that's a strength in many different scenarios. But if we don't have the right tools or awareness to manage it, it can hold us back. So we talked about overthinking getting in the way of our self promotion. There's also that deep rooted inclination to people please. Sensitive strivers tend to have very deep empathy and a very strong desire to make other people feel comfortable and happy. And as a result, we can often avoid self promotion because we don't want to make others feel bad. We don't want to be the tall poppy and outshine other people. We don't want others to feel inferior. And just a quick example of this, you might find that you don't share a recent accomplishment in a team meeting because you don't want to make another colleague who maybe didn't get the same results feel bad. So you sacrifice your visibility for the perceived harmony of the group. Who has ever done that? Give me a +1 in the chat if you have ever done that. Sacrifice your own visibility for the perceived harmony of the group. And that word perceived is very key there. All right, let me check in on the comments. And John was saying overthinking can feed self doubt. Absolutely. Yes. And Adrielle was saying, you are describing me right now. Yes. And along similar lines, along this line of people pleasing, the fear of judgment can also get in our way. As sensitive people, we're deeply attuned to how other people see us. And that's because sensitivity as a personality trait evolved to keep us safe. It evolved because it was helpful to have a certain amount of people who paid more attention to nuances in the environment. And that sensitivity, literally, to the environment and what's happening around us, though, can turn into a very deep fear of criticism and rejection. We're always on guard for danger. Again, because back in prehistoric days, that's how the trait helped keep us safe. So, for example, maybe you have found yourself holding yourself back from sharing an idea in a meeting because you're worried about how it might be received by others. Or you fear that a colleague will think that you're overstepping or you're trying to look smarter than everyone else. And those fears and worries, projections, all of that can prevent us from self promoting, but more so just sharing our unique insights and expertise. Okay, great. And Agada was saying it's as if you were talking about me. Yes, I've done this for a long time, so I've seen these patterns very often. And another area is emotionality. Sensitive strivers feel things in a big way. They have more intense emotional responses. And again, all of these things can be an asset. Having heightened emotionality means you're passionate, you're motivated towards a goal. But it can become a hindrance when the emotions are not very helpful, when they are things like anxiety, worry, fear, some of the things we've been talking about already. So I often see people say, they have that rush of anxiety just thinking about talking about their achievements during a performance review. And as a result, to ease that sense of discomfort, they downplay. They downplay what they've achieved, or they divert the conversation to other topics. I want to be clear that none of these things, everything I've mentioned so far, overthinking, people pleasing, fear of judgment, emotionality, none of these things, if you struggle with them, mean you are doomed. Okay? Really want you to take that home. And trust me, I know for years, maybe even decades, you have felt like your sensitivity is a curse and a liability. But I've seen firsthand, after coaching thousands of clients for over 11 years now, that it's possible to navigate these challenges and truly transform your confidence. And over the last decade, I've worked very closely with sensitive strivers just like you. And let me tell you, it is my biggest pride, joy, privilege to witness their growth and their journeys. Because in the beginning, many clients come to me overwhelmed by that constant cycle of overthinking, exhausted from the never ending desire to make other people happy. They share their fears of being judged for speaking up, their worries about coming off as boastful, or their discomfort in standing out. And the idea of self promotion for so many of them was really paralyzing. But here's the thing, what I love about sensitive strivers is their amazing capacity for introspection and desire for personal and professional growth. Sensitive strivers, maybe you count yourself in this camp, they are not ones to back down from a challenge. They take it head on, but with an approach that aligns with their values and strengths. So, with the right tools, you can come to see that these tendencies are not just obstacles, but they can be opportunities for your own self development. There's the overthinker who learns to harness that analytical side of themselves to craft a very clear, powerful message about their achievements. The people pleaser learns to understand that standing up for themselves or standing up for yourself doesn't equate to letting other people down, and that your own professional growth benefits everyone else as well. The sensitive striver who fears judgment learns to cultivate a more resilient mindset. They understand that many times criticism is often a reflection of the critic, of the person giving that feedback, not you as the one being criticized. And the emotional, sensitive striver learns to channel their intensity into a passion for the job. And they use that to communicate the why, the bigger vision, the aspirations behind their accomplishments. So, with time and with practice, they don't just conquer that fear of self promotion. They don't just get through it because they feel like they have to get through it. They transform how they assert themselves, how they see their self worth, the impact, the value they offer, their ability to advocate for themselves. So I want to be clear that this is about so much more than just sharing your accomplishments, that you can really go from being daunted by self promotion to realizing that it's an essential tool and one you can use very effectively, not only for yourself, but with others, all without losing your authenticity. Okay, so let me check in here on the chat. I'm also going to get some water too. So Giuseppe was saying, thank you for reminding me that sensitivity is a power. Absolutely. And Liz was saying, I was just overthinking about 5 minutes ago. The mind is a wondrous thing. That is for sure. Okay. All right. Perfect. Excellent. So it seems like this is resonating with a lot of you. If you are just joining us, we are talking about how to leverage self-promotion in your career for greater success. Again, if you are just joining, say hi in the comments. Let us know where you are watching from today. And as I'm going along, Pop in what is resonating with you, what is standing out to you the most. So as I was just saying a minute ago, the beauty of this journey and honestly the privilege of the work I get to do is I've witnessed countless sensitive strivers turn what they have seen as a weakness for so long into a true strength. And that is not only incredibly rewarding for them and honestly for me to see them experience that, but it's possible. It's more than possible. So today I want to give you hope in that. And I want to talk about why self promotion is such a vital part of your career success. Because again, this is not just about tooting your own horn, sharing your accomplishments for the sake of it. This is really about something so much bigger: your ability to advocate, assert yourself, your self worth, and the value you feel you bring to the table. So, I want to give you several reasons why it's crucial for you to focus on this skill. Let's dive into reason number one. Work has changed. And that means your approach to managing your career has to change along with it. All right, I'm going to repeat that again. Someone help me out by typing it in the chat. So we're talking about the role of self-promotion in career success. And reason number one that self-promotion is an essential skill you have to focus on is that work has changed and your approach to managing your career has to change along with it. It's no secret. Today's work world is more complex, it moves faster, it's more global, busier, hectic than ever before. All of which makes it harder and more important for you to find ways to stand out from the crowd. And the pandemic clearly brought about huge changes in remote and hybrid work. And in traditional work setups where you're going into the office, visibility is more so built into the job. It's more inherent. Your colleagues might see you arriving early, staying late. They may notice you're focused on crunching numbers for a certain high stakes project. They see that firsthand. They may witness your interactions with clients, your leadership team in meetings, your quick thinking during a crisis. And these unofficial ways of demonstrating value happen organically when we're in person, when we're in a traditional office setting. And that can be incredibly important because they silently communicate your dedication, your skill set, your work ethic without you having to go out of your way to articulate them because it's just in the air, it's just happening. Now, work or remote work and distributed work has come into the picture. And suddenly, what was casual, spontaneous interactions have, in many cases, pretty much disappeared. There's not as many water cooler chats where you're just informally chatting about the project you nailed. You're not just passing by your boss's office to give a quick update. There's no way to visibly demonstrate to others that you've put in late nights, early mornings. Instead, most of the interactions are scheduled. They have to be highly structured. We have team meetings at a certain time, one-on-ones, check-ins. And in this environment, the only person who really sees your hard work day in and day out is you. Or maybe it's your family, your pet, your plants. So in this new world of work, it's easy. It's very easy for your hard work to go unnoticed unless you make a conscious effort to share it. Your manager, who is also juggling their own challenges, might not always have a clear view of what each person on the team, including you, is working on. And again, that lack of spontaneous visibility can inadvertently lead to that mindset of out of sight, out of mind, where your efforts, your hard work might be overlooked simply because they're not being actively communicated. And it's not just about your managers. You have to think about your colleagues too. Because when you're in a remote setting, They're not privy to your day-to-day effort and goings on. They might not be aware of your contributions. And all of that can affect how you're perceived and your level of influence in your group. And I think all of us here are aware that one of the most important skills now is to be able to influence without formal authority over someone. So, in a remote or hybrid work setup, self promotion is more than just a skill. It's a survival mechanism, it is a necessity. It ensures that the hard work you're doing, the value you bring to the table, doesn't just get lost in the shuffle, that it's about actively communicating your achievements. You have to maintain your professional presence because no one else will do it for you. And you have to strategically share your accomplishments to ensure they're getting recognized, they're getting airtime because everyone is busy. Communication is much more siloed. All right, let's see. I want to check in with the chat. All right, let's see here. I'm just scrolling a little bit. John was asking, what are some good exercises to quiet your mind to reduce overthinking? John, that's a little out of scope of what we're talking about today, but I have a course called Overcome Overthinking here on LinkedIn Learning. You can search my name on LinkedIn Learning. It'll pop right up. It is my most popular course by far, and that will give you a starter pack of some great tools and techniques. Okay. Amber, thank you for sharing our first reason, which is that work has changed and your approach to managing your career has to change along with it. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Yes. Mary was saying, I never thought of that. The spontaneous sight of work being invisible. Yes. It's a huge thing. Okay. Excellent. All right. And Jennifer was saying, my goal is to let my managers know the most impactful things I'm working on versus everything I'm working on. I think that's better for my self-promotion and success. 100%. I love that takeaway, Jennifer, that again, listen, your managers are busy. They have their own stressors to worry about. And if you expect them to sort through all of the things you're doing and to pull what's important out of there, it's not going to happen. They're just going to get overwhelmed and say, I don't have time for this right now, or develop the perception that you don't know how to craft a narrative, how to prioritize, because it may seem like everything is important. So, absolutely right. I love that. Okay. So, we talked about reason number one, that self promotion is critical to your career success. Work has changed, and your approach to managing your career has to change along with it. Let's dive into reason number two. Self-promotion is crucial to your career success. And that is that it allows you to own your narrative. We were just talking about this a second ago. So I want you to imagine your career is a little like a book, and you are the author. It's an ongoing story, and every day you're writing new pages and sections and chapters. And self promotion is like the pen you're using to jot down every part of your journey. And like any good writer, you have the power to decide what plot twists happen, what achievements you want to highlight, which characters take center stage. What is the overall theme and takeaways of your story going to be? So let's say you are someone who works in marketing, but you're super into the data side of things lately. Now, with self promotion, you get a chance to tell that story, that you are not just a general marketer who can do everything. You can talk up the data focused side of your work. You can share your ideas about how data is changing marketing, or chat about a new metrics course that you're taking, a new analytics course that you're taking. The more you tell this story, the more you share this narrative, the more people start to connect you with data-driven marketing. And before you know it, you're the go-to person. You're the one people turn to for that kind of insight. That's really powerful. And this is even more important if you work in a large organization or in a competitive field, because It's way too easy for people to put you in a box and categorize you based on just a few interactions or one single project. But with self promotion, you can share the fuller scope of what you do. You can show people a more complete picture of who you are and what you have to offer. Now, self promotion isn't just about telling people where you are right now. It's also about showcasing where you want to go. I want to say that again. It's so important. Self promotion is not just about telling people where you are now, it's about showing them where you want to go because it has a forward looking aspect as well. It's not just backwards looking, showcasing your accomplishments, your current abilities. It's also designed to signal where you want to be. So, talking openly about your goals, your vision for the future, the kind of projects you're excited to work on, all of that sets the stage for what you want to do next in your career. So, it's a little like leaving breadcrumbs towards your future. By talking about what you're excited to do next, what you're aiming for in your career, you help set the stage for what's to come. You help attract new requests, opportunities your way. So I want you to just think about it. If your manager or other decision makers don't know that you're interested in leading bigger projects or that you want to dive into a new area of the business, how could they possibly consider you for those opportunities? But by incorporating those aspirations into the way you promote yourself, you open the door to those conversations. You pave the way for others to envision you in that role or the projects you actually want to undertake. So, self promotion gives you more power to shape, control, share your professional narrative. It's a really important tool to influence other people's perceptions, to guide your career in the direction you want it to take. Okay, let's see. Shivani really liked leaving breadcrumbs towards your career. Absolutely. Uh, Naresh asked, what about introverts? How to promote while being an introvert? Naresh, this is something we're going to dive into much more into the standout self-promotion webinar that I'm hosting this upcoming Monday on September 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, if you were just joining, you may have missed me mention this at the beginning, but this is a brand new free training. It's not material I've shared anywhere else publicly yet. You can sign up. There is a QR code here on the screen. Just take out your phone, head to the camera app. It'll bring you right to that link. Or there's a link on the screen here as well, melodywilding.com/stand-out. And it's a completely free training, and we'll talk much more about tactics, especially if you're someone who considers yourself more introverted, sensitive, for promoting yourself in a more authentic way. Okay. And Giuseppe, you were saying, what do we do when our managers take ownership of our achievements? That's actually something else we'll be talking about in the webinar. So definitely make sure you sign up for that. And Amber said, self-promotion is making me realize how important one-on-ones are with your boss that are bi-weekly, weekly, and how important it is to have time for a platform. Yes, 100%. Yes. Okay. Let's move on to the third reason self-promotion is crucial to your career success. And that is that it opens doors to new opportunities. We were just touching on this a minute ago, but when you effectively communicate your value, people are more likely to think of you when those opportunities arise, whether it's a project, a promotion, a speaking engagement, a job opening. You position yourself as a go-to person in your area, which means more collaborations, stronger relationships. So I want you to think of self-promotion as a key that helps you get noticed in your career. Because when you talk more openly about your skills and your achievements, you become top of mind when those new opportunities come up. And it's not just about standing out to your boss. This is also inviting collaborations with peers, colleagues, because they have a lot of power to bring you in the loop on things. That brings us to the last reason why self-promotion is so crucial to your career success. And that is because of your confidence. When you, as a sensitive striver, start to articulate your successes, what you've done well, you start to reinforce your sense of self-worth. It's almost like you're giving yourself a pat on the back and you're giving yourself that affirmation that, hey, I did this. I made this really cool thing happen. And I want you to think about the last time you achieved something pretty big in your career. Did you allow yourself to fully acknowledge it? How did that feel? If you did allow yourself to do that, it was probably really empowering. It was probably very rewarding. And more consistently self-promoting can help you do just that. It gives you a confidence boost. It helps you realize your value, helps you own what you bring to the table. And every time you promote your accomplishments, you remind yourself of your capabilities and your worth. And this doesn't just help others see your value. We talked about that a lot today, but it helps you see it too. And when you see it, your confidence builds. You begin to trust yourself more. Your decisions become clearer. You show up more powerfully in your work. And that increased confidence leads to other positive outcomes, whether it's enjoying your job more, you're more focused, more productive, you have a stronger sense of fulfillment in your career. So, to sum up for today, self-promotion isn't just important, it is necessary. It is a tool for standing out in a very competitive world, for shaping your professional narrative. It can become a bridge to new opportunities and a way to grow your confidence. So now that you know how important this skill is, I want to invite you to join us at the free training I'm hosting this upcoming Monday, September 11th, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's called Stand Out Self-Promotion, Transform Your Impact, Value, and Visibility at Work. It's completely free, and if you can't make it live, don't worry, we will send you the replay. And in this training, you are going to discover specific actionable tools and strategies to help you highlight your accomplishments and the good work you're doing without sounding like a jerk, to help you communicate your value with authenticity and sincerity. And like I said, it is completely free. It is the first time I'm sharing this material publicly. And again, yes, it will be recorded. If you can't make it live, don't worry, sign up. We will send you the replay. You can use the QR code here on the screen. It will take you directly to the Zoom registration page, or you can type in the URL here, melodywilding.com/stand-out. Amber, it will be a 60-minute training, so 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. All right. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Let me know what resonated with you here in the chat, and I hope I will see many of you at the webinar next week. All right. Take care.